yeah, like some pretty exciting updates around DeFi Basecamp. And yeah, Amber. So welcome to New Order, and yeah, I mean we'd all love to hear the latest on DeFi Basecamp.
Yeah, for sure. Hello, everyone. My name's Amber. You'll probably see my name popping up on announcements. I'm a new addition to New Order team, spearheading its DeFi Basecamp initiative, as Eden said. So just as a refresher, DeFi Basecamp is a accelerator program we're launching with Outlier Ventures. And the goal for the first cohort is to select 8 to 10 startups in DeFi space to accelerate. And so far, everything's going really smoothly. The application opened on January 17th, less than 2 weeks ago. And we have received 160 applications. And we can see in the back end, there are 20, 30 new ones are being filled out. Yeah, so really right now the focus that we're trying to make sure the top funnel of applications as big as possible. We're sourcing like more potential applicants every day, and in 2 weeks time we start the reviewing process.
Yeah, we're very excited about this opportunity, and finally we are able to kick it off. It's going very well. A bunch of people applying. Had already several calls with a couple founders that wanted to embark on this acceleration opportunity. So yeah, thank you, Amber, for updating us. I'm sure we'll go to great lengths with this program.
Okay, so I mean, just so everybody's clear, we've gotten over 160 applications for the Basecamp program thus far. So it's thus far the reception of this accelerator program, I think, has been fantastic. So just so we're clear, it's very, very exciting, and I think as Amber stated, over the next couple of weeks there'll be a more sort of like community sort of integration in this process, and so it should be really, really exciting.
Sammy couldn't be here, so he usually talks about this stuff. So I'll maybe jump in there. Strategically, why this is super important for New Order is everybody knows by now. Our plan is to have the most diverse, most robust, let's say, treasury and DeFi, and so New Order is actually going to be getting a piece of each of these projects that's going through the accelerator. So I mean, for us, it's it's great for the DAO.
Yeah, also from the standpoint of the DAO, if Amber, you could maybe shed some light on how people can participate in due diligence in helping you out with reviewing these projects.
Yes, we definitely for selecting the startups, we want to learn our community's opinion on the project as well. So right now we're forming a evaluation committee from our community members for the first round of due diligence and deliberation of applications. So later today, I'm gonna announce the applications for the evaluation committee. If you're interested in vetting startups, put in application, and I will reach out to chat with you to see what your interest and background is, and we'll go from there.
Cool.
Yeah, many opportunities for you guys to get
Once
involved
the
in.
first round of the DDS done, we'll also ask all of our community members to rank those prospects and help us pick the strongest ones. The final cohort will consist of ones that score the highest or receive the most support from our community members and the evaluation committee and our core team.
Awesome. Great.
And could you also remind
Amber,
us,
actually, what would be good as well is if you just gave a little background to the community, just kind of what you were doing before you joined New Order. Be good, be nice to kind of just introduce yourself as well.
Of course, yeah. So for the last 2.5 years, I worked at another incubator as a senior venture manager, focused on the overall development of its blockchain work stream. So for the last 2 years, I worked with over 30 blockchain-based startups to help them scale their business. And before that, I worked at a early stage VC called Plug and Play, based out of California. And before that, I was more in the traditional finance. I did banking for a few years at a bank called ICBC.
Yeah,
Great.
great, thank you. If you could also shed some light on when that first cohort is expected to launch, and what amount of projects are we planning to accelerate as part of that first cohort?
Yeah, absolutely. So once we review all the applications, the cohort will finalize by end of March, and the program will start in April and last till July. It will be 12 weeks in total. And in terms of like what type of projects we're looking for, I think there are three main points. The first of all is that we're looking for projects that's on thesis. And that being said, we have pretty broad thesis. We're looking for founders focused on DeFi across tech stack. So for example, like cross-chain DeFi protocols, and we're also looking for MetaFi applications applying DeFi to, digital economy, GameFi being one of them, or maybe social networks as well. And we're also looking for projects that leverage, other technology like AI, machine learning to power like DeFi, either on the infrastructure side or on the application layer as well. And also projects exploring interaction between CeFi and DeFi on chain, like bring new asset classes on chain. And also, we're chain agnostic. It's not required if you build on certain chain and other. So this is the first criteria is to be on thesis, and the second is early stage. I think the ideal candidates are, pre-seed and seed round founders who are looking for support in scaling and launching a product. The founders that can benefit the most is probably the ones close to deploying early products or having an MVP. So this is second criteria. And the third, I would say, first round of DD will definitely focus on team background. So we're looking for founders have proven technical skills on product building or whichever market they're target at. They have a deep domain knowledge or are familiar with that market. If you're, serial entrepreneur who had to successfully build and launch product before, that's even better. If you don't have too much like work experience, we're looking for convincing academic background from top universities. So three main points. One is on thesis. The second is a right stage. Is probably pre-seed and seed round stage, and strong founding background, founding team background.
Yeah, you also were. I remember you were sharing. There's a slide deck coming, right, with everything in perspective, so everybody has a reference point to know what founders would best fit, right?
Yes. I will share all the evaluation framework details with the community later this week.
Great, guys. Do you have anything to add?
I guess I just maybe want to echo something I said last week, which is like I particularly am excited about these prospects of MetaFi, where to be honest, I think like this idea of like metaverse and I guess by extension MetaFi is really kind of almost kind of like a buzzword that's catching up to all the stuff that I guess we as a crypto community, like the wider crypto community, have been building for the last like couple years, right? Where NFTs meet metaverse, meet DeFi, meet some of the social. I think social is probably maybe the one thing that's underrepresented right now. So I was really actually happy that Amber, you brought that up specifically, right? This aspect of social and where that intersects with DeFi and new asset classes. So anyway, cool.
Yeah, on that note, we can probably go forward with Aiden. You can also give a short introduction of yourself, since I don't think anybody really heard kind of your perspective on all this, and we can dive deeper into our contributor program that you're leading.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I'm excited about all the stuff Amber's doing, though. I think it's going to be great to see what kind of projects we can get our attention from, and working with Outliers is pretty exciting too. I mean, I love their like OG token engineering thesis, and the MetaFi thesis is like pretty sweet too if you guys haven't looked into that. But yeah, I'm gonna just start off. I've been in crypto for a few years. Kind of dove deeper into Ethereum in like 17. went through the bear market in 18. Obviously, that was a interesting time, but got out the other end. And then just the last 2 years, kind of going deeper into DeFi, understanding NFTs kind of early, started to build a startup 2 years ago called Longtail Financial, basically offering token engineering services. Been a fun journey, and recently joined this team to help with governance and DAO operations. And right now I'm in the process of setting up a contributor program to basically activate the community further, because we have a lot of tokens to give out for bounties, and we have a certain amount allocated. And I think I really want to work with the community as a whole to kind of, get your guys' input into how you want to see New Order develop too, because we have a lot of things going on that we need your help with too. Because we want this to be like a very community centric project. Of course, like a lot of people will have opportunities to, work in sub DAOs that we're building that will end up being able to potentially help with incubated projects as well. So what I kind of want to go over is setting up this platform called DWork, which you guys may have seen pop up in some of the sub DAO channels. And if you guys haven't yet, try to go through the section in the Discord that kind of prompts you to join some of the sub DAO categories, because that's how you're going to get more involved in the community as a whole here, as opposed to just being like a speculator. There's nothing wrong with that as well, but because you still have skin in the game. But I feel like if you want to become more involved in New Order, finding sort of like a sub DAO that feels more relevant to you, like if it's technical, even if you just want to learn more, it's a good way to connect with new people. The community and marketing, we need lots of help with design stuff. The Twitter army's kind of slowed down a little bit lately too. If you want to learn more about governance or sort of the research we're doing, you can join those channels as well. But there's going to be more and more bounties coming for people to contribute towards or submit their work towards, which will give you the chance to become more involved in everything we're doing and kind of the greater vision of what's developing.
Aiden, I just want to add, people have been waiting for a while, for our first round of contributor rewards, and now, I guess this latest, now move to switch to V2 is sort of, maybe let's call it the latest delay for that. We don't feel that there's a point in paying people in V1 tokens if they're gonna have to switch more to V2 tokens. So that is on our radar. I know you've been chasing me as well, and I keep saying I'm working on V2. So we'll work together next week to get those rewards to people.
Yeah. So basically, Merrick, he's been working on a V2 token that has all the vesting integrated into it, which is something that a lot of people were requesting. And I think it makes a lot more sense for the organization too, for people to have the tokens vested for longer. So we're gonna make sure the transition happens smoothly, and then get the current contributors paid out ASAP. That should be next week. So stay posted on that. If you're expecting tokens, you should receive them pretty soon here. And we're gonna be putting out an article on Mirror with more info and how to transition your tokens to V2 shortly. And we'll make sure to be pretty hands-on with helping everyone throughout that process as well. I don't know if you want to speak on that at all too, Che.
Yeah. Thank you, Aiden. I think Mary can kind of chime in on that thought. The V2 differences, right? The technical developments that we have going on. If you want to mute yourself.
Yeah. Right now, where we're at with the whole process is, we've gotten, I would say, preliminary comments back from our auditor, security auditor. There was like an arithmetical underflow, bug in there that would have, after looking into it, it was a bug, it needed to be fixed. It would have affected only, I think, some investors and core team, wouldn't have affected the wider community. We got that fixed now. We're just awaiting the final report. Since we've addressed all the issues in the auditor reports, we're sort of proactively going ahead and doing testnet deployments right now. So actually right now, everyone's actually waiting on me, sort of solving a dependency issue, which is like just so our Jen and Justin, I'm on it. I'll be done a few minutes after this call, and so so we're moving into a testing phase. Make sure that the UI is going to be smooth for everyone, as smooth as possible, for this transition. What else can I add? Vaults, like vaults for the V2 tokens, so people can stake back into vaults, are going to be probably going live within 24 hours. Let's say 24 to 36 hours after the V2 token launches. I guess the question might be like when. We're kind of expecting it to go to be launched over the weekend. There's no immediate action, I would say, that that people are going to need to take with respect to there's not going to necessarily be a deadline or a quick action that people need to take. They can sort of take their time, I would say, in switching over. We're going to give certainly a bit of a grace period for people as far as governance goes. We're going to count, if you keep your tokens in the old vault, in the V1 token vault. What I mean is the single staking Nuo vault for V1. You still will. Our intention. We're looking into the code right now. It should be possible for you to still have voting rights. I would say for a while, like probably at least a week, while we do the switch over. What else do I want to say? I think I already mentioned the staking vaults, so you can continue earning yield. Our intent is to have those live, again within about 24 hours of the V2 launch. So we'll keep you posted over Discord over the weekend how things are going. Certainly by Monday we want to have everything in place and start getting people switched over to V2. I don't know, Che, do we want to mention anything else right now?
Yeah, I mean, I would also mention that we have like a full-on article going just to make sure that comms are on set. Not everybody obviously is at the community call. Maybe not everybody's in the Discord, paying attention to the announcement. So we want to make sure that every member of our community is aware of this migration that we're having. So we'll have a detailed write-up on all the actions that need to be taken, and the different options that you guys have in terms of migration. We'll be soon deploying vaults on Avalanche and Arbitrum. That's subject to the snapshot vault that's about to end. All of these, kind of timeline things are going to be in set, just so everybody's aware of, all the dates, what's going on, when it will happen, how it will happen, right? So there's no like black holes in understanding. And of course, like yet again, Discord is always open. You can always ask questions there, but we want to make sure that you guys have all your questions answered in that sheet that we'll be preparing.
Yeah. I want to just underline one more time, like this isn't one of those deals where like you need to rush to do anything, or else your tokens will be burned or inaccessible or anything like that, right? Like, it's gonna be a smooth, relaxed transition. Hopefully there's no speed bumps or whatnot. One more thing I wanted to add. We're exploring the technology, the possibility of once we do bridge our token, let's say if these resolutions pass, right? If these proposals pass to bridge onto another, let's say L1, or in the case of Arbitrum, like an Ethereum L2, we are looking at the possibility of sort of in one step transitioning over to V2 and bridging sort of in one step. We'll keep you posted if that's going to be a possibility. We're should be done our preliminary investigation of that, I would say, in the next maybe day or two. I'll give you an update with respect to that. So certainly there's no mad rush to switch over. I just wanted to add that on.
Yeah, and yet again, we'll be having the whole write-up in Mirror, will be shared, so you'll be able just to follow the step-by-step process that we have there with ease. If that's all for technical kind of updates, the V2 migration, Merrick, we can go further with introducing Sebastian. He's Okairin, Discord. He's leading H2O, and if you want to introduce yourself and tell everybody what you've been doing.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for having me. So, Ocarin here, or better known as Sebastian within the team. I'm the current business lead for H2O. Maybe a quick note on myself. I come from a long time in traditional finance for Swiss banking, an insurance company where I used to be a project manager, and I recently made the leap of faith to work full time in Web3 once I got to know the team of New Order. So yeah, for those who want to know more about the incubation process as well, because I've heard some mentions about the sub-DAOs, you can always reach out to me if you want to know more about the incubation process, and you can obviously find me in the sub-DAO for incubation. The experience so far has really been quite amazing, I must say. I'm really blessed to work with you guys from all over the world, which is quite a big change, as you can imagine, from the traditional finance environment. So yeah, maybe I can give you guys a quick recap on H2O. So as some of you might remember, H2O is a non-pegged stable asset that is backed by the Ocean token with similar mechanics to the Flexes mechanisms for those who are familiar with it. And a quick update on how the project is going. So far we are actually now in the final process of ironing out the last bits of technical development and design. We've deployed successfully our second alpha version of the dApp. We'll be actively looking for testers the following days, so please be on the lookout for that. We will be posting that on the Discord very soon. So yeah, we'll be posting that in the sub channel of H2O, so be on the lookout. And as far as I can go on how the release is looking, we're still looking at a release on time for V1 in early Q1, so in the following weeks ahead. Unless something very unexpected happens, of course, which we never know. But so far, it's looking bright, and we think we can deliver in the weeks ahead. And then later down the year, we have more exciting news coming with the introduction of data tokens and multi-chain and so on. But maybe I've already said too much, Marek, did I?
Well, I think that's some good alpha, maybe some that we whispered before, but I mean I think that's
yeah. I don't want to
pretty
drop
good
too
to
much,
update.
but yeah. In a quick recap.
So like if I could add to maybe one thing that you said, I think very briefly, right, but is probably bears a few more words. People keep asking like, well, where's the H2O, like, besides the Git book, right? The Git book we have, actually the Git book we still have under New Orders Git book account. Like when is H2O sort of going to be, become its own sort of entity, right? And I think that, I've just been watching what you and the rest of the team have been doing real hard, right? Which is sort of giving H2O its own identity and website and all this stuff. So all that stuff, I think we've been kind of quiet about, but it's in the works.
Absolutely.
I know it's pretty far along, so it should be, more to be released soon.
Yeah, very, very soon. I don't want to commit to a precise date, but really the coming days ahead, you will hear more about H2, and you'll be able to interact more with us. That's as much as I can say. Is that reasonable?
Yeah, I mean, already so much alpha spill that I think everybody's keeping notes and everything is going on. That's, I mean, that's the benefit of coming to these community calls, right? And on this note, I think we can move further towards our next project that we are incubating. A couple of updates about Optify. If Eden, you can take the stage here.
So Optify it's on track. It's scheduled to launch early March. They're just putting some of the finishing touches on some of the staking vaults, and so we'll keep the community posted on it.
Yeah, I mean, exciting times, to be honest. Like, I think February is going to be filled with a bunch of product launches. A bunch of information coming your way. It's a really good time to be with New Order. I mean, I know, January has been a tough month, for the whole market, right? But we are very focused and very positioned to continue delivering. Following Redacted launch, it was a very successful launch. We're going to follow up in February with H2O and Optify. Maybe Optify, a bit maybe later in launch. But it's a really exciting time. So I'm really glad that you guys all are around and you can witness this happen with us. Yeah, on this note, we can transition a bit into more of the internals. As far as governance goes, right? Like, we have a couple of updates coming up. As we've briefly touched previously, we have our Avalanche and Arbitrum deployments coming up quite soon. That's about to pass our snapshot, right? Like, it's pretty much unanimous. So the only thing for us essentially to do right now is to give you a couple of updates that we're going to have in our mirror post regarding our liquidity and on Arbitrum and Avalanche, and when are we actually going to be deploying those vaults for staking, right? So one thing, is the ability to have liquidity and be trading. Another is to be able to natively stake on those platforms, right? Like opening up the full level of utility to new token holders on Avalanche and Arbitrum, right? So that's going to be happening very soon. We'll be releasing a timeline, probably later this week, maximum, beginning of next, with the vaults and all of the liquidity transferred over there. Next, we have the Olympus Pro. There's a bit of a hiccup with Olympus because they're migrating to their V2 bonds. So they have temporarily paused their Olympus Pro model. That would be, probably happening quite soon. They're going to be releasing the next cohort, and which we are going to be leading as well. It's just a matter of when Olympus is able to successfully, implement all of the required changes to have the Olympus Pro model also have the V2 bonds, right? So it's just we're just waiting on them to have that happen. And also, I know the snapshot is about to pass or has passed. I'm not 100% sure, but it's, yet again, a very unilateral support for us to do this, to accumulate Paul. So the only thing that might change is the amount of NEO that we're willing to allocate for this. Initially, it was 2 million NEO tokens. The consideration right now is to increase that to 1 million NEO tokens a month. That will be also subject to you guys' comments and suggestions, but we think it's a good idea to start increasing that to capitalize on protocol controlled liquidity, right? Like, we don't want to be paying very large emissions for liquidity providing. It will be much better to exercise this novel new model for controlling our liquidity and having a sustainable model around providing liquidity in our ecosystem, right? Also, we have a very important update that will be probably paramount for all of you guys to contribute to talk about. We have released our draft constitution on the Commonwealth Forum. It would be great for us to hear everything that you have to say about each one of those rules, whether you agree, disagree, or you wanted to add something. It's a very important document, of course. It's kind of guiding our operations. We outline a bunch of permissible, non-permissible actions that we can take as a DAO, a bunch of information about sub-DAOs as well, kind of the synergies between the DAOs and what they can do and what they can't. And we would be very glad to hear you guys' opinions and voices on that as well. The last thing, in terms of governance, that we have already touched on it a little bit, I think, Marek, with the possibility of the V2 contract, right? whether the multi-sig has the ability to pause token transfers.
Yeah. I actually wanted to wait till we came to this here. I think that this proposal's still open for how much longer? For, I don't know, not that much longer. I think it ends today, right, on Snapshot.
Yeah,
It's sort of an important thing, I think, for everyone to weigh in on. I think it's pretty clearly outlined there. The benefits are that there would be an emergency button, that could be pressed by, let's say at the moment it'll be the core team. In the future, as we decentralize, it'll be, some other, system. But the downside is also there is going to be a pause button, right, that people can press. So there is sort of, I would say, where I come from in sort of crypto, or when I come from, trust minimization was sort of, I think, still, a big theme, right? And certainly, I would say one I believe in, to wherever we can to sort of minimize, those sort of points. I would say that, there's advantages to having the pausable / ownable features in there. A few projects I've talked to either took advantage of it, and they were suggesting that had we had it, I think we would have had a lot easier and cleaner path to this V2 upgrade. Also, there's the potential there to respond to like emergencies, like let's say a public bridge to some other blockchain, where we bridge to, gets hacked, or there's an exploit out that hasn't been exploited, right? Quick action could be taken to, prevent any let's say losses, right? Through like a bridge hack, as an example. What else did I want to add? One thing that's not in the proposal that sort of, came up as just a, maybe I would want to add to the conversation, right? Is there's the potential to use a sort of like a trusted oracle that would be provided by our security provider, Halborn, that's also very well trusted and been around for many years. Sort of like almost like a check and balance. It's a 24-hour service that they provide that basically would prevent any malicious, let's call it, use or improper use of the pause functionality. And that's something we can. The reason it's maybe not in the proposal is maybe an optional thing that we don't have to do, that we could do in the future. It's already, so the code already permits that that sort of trusted. I think they call it a trusted notary, not a trusted oracle, but I guess it is a type of oracle that basically allows permissible things, right? Like example would be pausing in case of a hack, or pausing in case of an agreed to upgrade, right? Like the community agreed to this vesting change and prior upgrade. So like that would be a case where they would sign it and say, okay, we're going to pause it for a few hours to do the migration, etc. So anyway, I would say think about it, vote with your, I guess, mind, right? What's that trade-off, right? Is that trade-off suitable for you? I don't really want to, it's for me, it's a trade-off, right? That's sort of my opinion on it, and not one that I personally want to make for the community. So, please vote.
I think it's also important to mention, right? Like if the possibility is enacted, right, it's not a one-way door, right, Merrick? Like we'll be able to burn the key if needed.
Yeah, that's actually a good point too, Che. I forgot to mention that, right? Is if at some point, in 2 months, people say, we don't want this to be pausable. It's too much of a risk, let's say, in people's minds. We could always burn those keys. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah, I mean, we can also bring up the whole Spider-Man quote, that Merrick you so dearly love. But with great responsibility.
You were. That was a pause for me to say it. With great power comes great responsibility, kind of thing, right? And I don't want to loop back too many times, right? But there are checks and balances out there that are available, right? Like that trusted notary service by Halborn that we can take advantage of at no additional cost. So anyway. Yeah, maybe that's enough on that.
Yeah, and it's very important for you guys to contribute to governance, right? Like all of these decisions are definitely not unilateral. We're waiting your guys' approach to this, and we will act accordingly. So I think this is the primary gist of what we wanted to cover today. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to bring you on and answer any of your concerns or comments, or maybe just want to say hi. So we'll be glad to have you guys here. Yeah, also there's a community call text channel if you feel free to have a question there.
Maybe what kind of, like, if you're you could say, you could make suggestions for what kind of music that we can have on the Vibes channel or on the background of some of these calls. That would be interested to hear that too.
Yeah, it seems like Aiden had a very particular taste in music, so maybe he can help us out as well. But I see there's a question here. I think it was asked in the general chat earlier on about migrating to Avalanche and obviously having a stablecoin pair over there, right? The stablecoin, the primary stablecoin is MIM, and all the recent drama that has been happening around it. Maybe we have something to say about that as well, right?
This would be a good time to have Sammy on. Like, he's certainly a DeFi visionary. I mean, that's a very recent development that I would say came about. I guess even probably after we posted that snapshot. So I think there's going to be ways around it. I think that the Avalanche, ecosystem, I think, is probably going to recover and adjust. And they're looking at cleaning house over there too. I don't know if I think it's something that'll sort itself out. I think there will be, if, let's say, the marketplace, right, or we, right, as a DAO, decide that, we, like, for example, like we I guess, the jury's still out, I would say, on some of these protocols, right? So I think that we would probably wait for the dust to settle a little bit before choosing a stablecoin pair on Avalanche. But, like, certainly, yeah, I mean, you raised a very good point, one that we're going to consider carefully before choosing a stablecoin pair. So we're watching that closely. Again, I think that's probably one we can get Sammy to answer offline when he lands.
Yeah, for sure. And I see, Andy, you were also asking a question like whether we might have like an ETH or AVAX pair, right? Like that's a ongoing conversation, right? Like the market is adjusting daily, right? So the initial idea is to have a stablecoin pair just for the ease of use, right? But we will definitely be exploring others and going. Yeah, I think I'm not seeing many more questions coming here. So if you guys don't have anything else, we can just wrap this up. We already had you guys here for 40 minutes, so I know it can be tiring listening to us talk about new order and how much we love it, right? So if you have any other questions, feel free to DM us. General chat's always open. Make sure that all your voices are heard. We'll always be answering all these questions. So thank you guys for being here. I think it's a good time to wrap this up.
Thanks. I'm going to get back to coding. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll be heads down working.
Yeah, for sure.
A good one.
Yeah, thanks so much, everyone. Feel free to
Thank
ping me
you.
too if you want to figure out how to
Thank you,
get
everyone.
involved in becoming a contributor. I'm always here. Take care, guys.
Take care, guys.
Cheers.
Have a great
Cheers.
weekend. Bye.
Likewise.
Bye.